First Contact Protocol. Commander Vexel stood before the immense viewing portal of the Archivist mothership, his four eyes focused on the small blue-green planet displayed on the main screen. His exoskeleton glistened under the dim lights of the command center as he contemplated the assignment before him. "Preparations for the expedition are complete, Commander," announced Sub-Archivist Klin, her voice resonating through the neural enhancement that connected all bridge crew members. "The fleet awaits your command." Vexel nodded, his cranial ridges shifting with concern. "Show me the latest intelligence again." The holographic display expanded, revealing thousands of data points collected over centuries of passive observation. Earth, as the natives called it, had been monitored since their primitive radio signals first reached Archivist outposts nearly 300 years ago. The species had progressed rapidly through various technological stages, but appeared to have stagnated in the last century. They'd barely established a permanent presence on their moon, Vexel noted, scrolling through the data. Limited Mars colonies, a handful of space stations, and automated probes to the outer planets. No faster-than-light travel attempts. No quantum communications. What about their energy matrix? Still primarily fusion-based with limited antimatter experimentation, Klin replied. Their military capabilities remain confined to their solar system, with no evidence of stellar weaponry. Vexel's mandibles clicked in contemplation. Something didn't feel right. It seems inconsistent with their trajectory. They advanced from primitive flight to rudimentary space travel in less than a century, then virtually halted expansion for the next 100 years. High Archivist Tenzor, the eldest and most respected member of the expedition, approached with the deliberate movements of one who had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. "Your concern is noted, Commander, but not supported by evidence. The pattern is actually quite common. Species often reach technological plateaus. Our protocols are clear. Earth meets all criteria for first contact." The Archivists had encountered thousands of civilizations throughout their 50,000 years of interstellar exploration. Their mission was sacrosanct: to catalog, preserve, and, when appropriate, guide emerging species into the galactic community. First contact protocols were refined through eons of experience. "Prepare the fleet," Vexel ordered, deferring to protocol despite his misgivings. "Standard formation, communication arrays at full capacity. I want a comprehensive psychological profile of their leadership structure before we initiate contact." The Archivist fleet emerged from subspace 5 astronomical units from Earth, a respectful distance established by convention. 50 vessels of varying sizes arranged themselves in the ceremonial spiral pattern meant to communicate peaceful intentions. "Broadcasting first contact message on all frequencies they utilize," reported communications specialist Mira, her tentacles dancing across the console. "Standard diplomatic package, mathematical foundation, cultural overview, and galactic positioning." Vexel watched the main screen as the message was transmitted toward Earth. Standard protocol dictated that after receiving such a message, most species responded with confusion, fear, or cautious excitement. The Archivists would then gradually reveal themselves over a period of days or weeks, allowing the species to acclimate to the reality of extraterrestrial life. What happened next defied all predictions. Earth went silent. Not just official channels. All communications across the planet ceased simultaneously. The constant chatter of radio, microwave, television, and data transmissions that had emanated from the world for centuries simply stopped. "Status report," Vexel demanded, his exoskeleton tensing with alarm. "Unknown, Commander," Klin responded, her voice betraying concern. "We're detecting a planet-wide energy surge unlike anything in our databases. Their power output has increased by a factor of 1,000 in the last 30 seconds. High Archivist Tenzor moved to Vexel's side. "Impossible. Our intelligence was wrong," Vexel interrupted, suddenly understanding his earlier discomfort. "They knew we were watching. They've been hiding their true capabilities." Before Tenzor could respond, Science Officer Raylex announced, "Commander, We're detecting massive energy signatures emerging from Earth's moon, their orbital installations, and several locations previously classified as uninhabited on the planet's surface. They appear to be weapons Vexel finished for him, battle stations, defensive protocols. But the Archivist fleet had not prepared for combat. Their mission was peaceful exploration and contact. Before defense systems could be fully activated, Earth responded. Not with weapons as Vexel had feared, but with something far more shocking. A single message appeared simultaneously on every system throughout the Archivist fleet, a feat that should have been impossible given the encryption and security protocols in place. The message was simple, displayed in perfect Archivist script. We accept your contact. Remain in position. Ambassadorial delegation approaching. Commander, whispered Mira. They're speaking our language. Not a translation. Actual High Archivist dialect that we haven't used in external communications for millennia. Vexel's mandibles twitched with disbelief. How could they possibly? Detection alert. Interrupted the tactical officer. Object approaching at high velocity. A small vessel, sleek and unlike any human craft in their intelligence files, decelerated from impossible speeds and came to rest precisely 1,000 kilometers from the Archivist mothership. Its design was elegant, almost organic, with no visible propulsion system or weapons. Scan it, ordered Vexel. Unable to penetrate their hull, responded Science Officer Relax after several attempts. The composition appears to be. I don't understand. It's registering as both matter and energy simultaneously. High Archivist Tensor's normally impassive features showed genuine shock. They've achieved phase state technology. Impossible. That's beyond even our theoretical understanding. A new message appeared. Permission to dock with your mothership. 3 representatives, unarmed. Vexel looked at Tensor, who nodded slowly. Protocol dictates we accept, the High Archivist said quietly. But nothing about this follows protocol. As the human vessel approached, detailed scans of Earth continued to reveal the truth. What appeared to be simple orbital platforms were unfolding into massive defensive arrays. The moon's surface shifted as hidden installations exposed themselves. The planet's oceans rippled as enormous structures rose from depths where the Archivists had detected nothing. They concealed everything, Klin whispered. But how? Our observation satellites have been in place for over a century. They knew exactly where to look, Vexel realized. They found our technology, and instead of destroying it, they fed it exactly what they wanted us to see. The human vessel docked with precision, connecting seamlessly with the Archivist mothership despite the incompatible technologies. When the airlock opened, 3 figures emerged. They appeared as standard humans based on Archivist intelligence, bipedal, 2 arms, single head with 2 forward-facing eyes. But as they approached, subtle differences became apparent. Their movements were too fluid, their expressions too controlled. They wore simple gray uniforms with no insignia or markings. Greetings, Commander Vexel, High Archivist Tensor, and honored representatives of the Archivist Collective, spoke the central figure in flawless High Archivist dialect. I am Admiral Helena Chen of Earth United Defense. These are my colleagues, Dr. Marcus Okafor and Ambassador Liang Wei. Vexel stepped forward, protocol momentarily forgotten. How do you know our language? Our names? The existence of the collective? Admiral Chen smiled slightly. We've had a long time to prepare for this meeting, Commander. Your observation of Earth began 300 years ago by your time counting. Our observation of the Archivists began nearly 800 years ago. A shocked silence fell over the command center. Impossible, whispered Tensor. We only expanded into this sector 500 years ago. Yes, nodded Chen. We detected your preliminary exploration vessels. Rather than announce ourselves, we decided to watch and learn. It's been educational. But your technology, Vexel said, struggling to reconcile this revelation with their intelligence. Your limited space travel, your energy constraints, Dr. Okafor, a tall man with dark skin and penetrating eyes, spoke for the first time. A carefully constructed facade, Commander. We've maintained a deliberate appearance of technological stagnation while developing in directions your sensors wouldn't detect. But why? Asked Klin, abandoning protocol in her confusion. Ambassador Wei, a slight figure with an air of ancient wisdom, stepped forward. History, Sub-Archivist Klin. We studied your interactions with other civilizations. The archivists are generally benevolent, but your protocols for technological guidance often lead to cultural assimilation. We preferred to develop independently. Vexel's tactical mind raced ahead. The weapons we detected, defensive only, Admiral Chen assured him. As you approached with aggression, rather than your standard contact protocol, you would have received a different reception. But we've observed enough to know the archivists aren't conquerors. What happens now? Tenzor asked, his voice carrying the weight of an archivist civilization, suddenly confronted with the unknown. Admiral Chen's expression softened slightly. Now, High Archivist, we negotiate as equals. Earth is prepared to join the galactic community, but on our terms. We have much to offer and much to learn, but we will not be guided or catalogued like an archaeological curiosity. As the human delegation continued explaining the true state of Earth's development, Vexel stared at the view screen showing the blue-green planet. The world was transformed from what they had believed it to be just hours ago. Hidden installations now gleamed across its surface. Ancient defense systems revealed themselves in orbit, and the beginnings of what appeared to be a massive space elevator extended from the equator. Earth had not only been hiding, it had been preparing. And the archivists, for all their ancient wisdom and experience, had completely misunderstood humanity. This was not first contact. This was humanity revealing themselves on their own terms, and nothing in the 50,000 years of archivist history had prepared them for what happened next. The price of assumption. The central chamber of the archivist mothership had been rapidly reconfigured to accommodate the human delegation. Curved walls displaying the history of the archivist collective through intricate light patterns surrounded a circular conference table where Commander Vexel, High Archivist Tenzor, and their senior staff faced Admiral Chen and her colleagues. Let me ensure I understand correctly, Tenzor said, his four eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of deep distress among his kind. Humanity achieved faster than light travel over 3 centuries ago. 342 years ago, by your time measurement, Dr. Okafor confirmed. The quantum displacement drive was developed in response to environmental degradation on Earth. We needed to find resources beyond our solar system. Vexel's tactical mind couldn't reconcile this information with their intelligence. But we've monitored all travel within this sector for half a millennium. Not once did we detect human vessels beyond your asteroid belt. Admiral Chen's expression remained neutral. Because we don't use traditional space-folding methods like the archivists. Our technology doesn't create subspace distortions. We move between spaces rather than through them. Impossible, muttered Science Officer Relax. Such technology would require an understanding of quantum dimensions beyond anything. Beyond anything in the archivist databases, Ambassador Wei finished for him. Yes, that was rather the point of our isolation strategy. The implications stunned the archivist leadership. Their civilization prided itself on being the galaxy's foremost collectors and preservers of knowledge. To discover an emerging species had developed in directions completely unknown to them was unprecedented. How far has humanity expanded? Vexel asked, dreading the answer. Admiral Chen activated a small device on her wrist. A 3-dimensional star map materialized above the conference table, highlighting hundreds of systems across multiple spiral arms of the galaxy. The blue indicators represent permanent settlements, she explained. The green are research outposts. Yellow marks automated monitoring stations. Klin's exoskeleton paled visibly. This can't be accurate. You're claiming territory across 7 sectors, including regions under protection of the Galactic Council. Not claiming territory, Ambassador Wei corrected gently. We have no interest in territorial expansion for its own sake. Humanity learned the hard way that empires built on conquest inevitably collapse. Our presence in these regions is primarily scientific and observational. We maintain minimal impact protocols on all non-Earth worlds. Tenzor leaned forward, his ancient frame tense with concentration. If what you're showing us is true, then humanity has already encountered at least 16 other sentient species, several of which the archivists have diplomatic relations with. 23 actually, Dr. Okafor noted. Though only 18 have achieved spaceflight. The others we observe from a distance, following non-interference directives. And these species, they've never mentioned humanity to the collective. Vexel asked. Admiral Chen's slight smile returned. They don't know we're human. Each of our contact teams adapts appearance and communication methods appropriate to the species encountered. As far as the Lyrex of Centauri Prime are concerned, we're the observers, a species of crystalline entities from the galactic rim. To the methane-breathing Vorali, we present as plasma-based consciousnesses. Adaptive camouflage technology, whispered Relax in awe. Genetically engineered morphological plasticity, or something more fundamental. That information isn't relevant to our current negotiation, Admiral Chen replied diplomatically but firmly. Vexel's tactical mind finally grasped the full significance of what they were facing. So when our preliminary exploration vessels entered this sector 5 centuries ago, we detected them, analyzed your technology, and made a strategic decision, confirmed Admiral Chen. Earth would present itself as a developing world while we studied the archivists and their place in the galactic community. You've been evaluating us, Tenzor realized, his voice carrying 5 millennia of wisdom, and for the first time in his long memory, uncertainty, not the other way around. Everyone evaluates potential allies and threats, High Archivist, Ambassador Wei said softly. The difference is in what one does with that evaluation. The implications hung heavily in the chamber. The Archivist Collective, which had guided hundreds of species into the galactic community over thousands of years, had itself been assessed by what they'd believed was a primitive civilization. And what was humanity's conclusion regarding the archivists? Vexel asked, unable to keep a defensive edge from his voice. Admiral Chen's expression softened. That you are genuine in your commitment to knowledge preservation and cultural exchange. Your protocols for first contact, while sometimes leading to cultural homogenization, come from a place of genuine desire to elevate other species. The archivists aren't conquerors or exploiters. You're librarians and teachers. Tenzor's aged frame seemed to relax slightly. Then why the deception? If you judged us worthy of trust, why maintain the facade? Because, Dr. Okafor interjected, humanity's history with more advanced civilizations arriving on our shores has not been encouraging. When Europeans discovered the Americas, indigenous populations were decimated. When industrialized nations encountered tribal societies, cultural erasure often followed. We wanted to develop on our own terms, not become another entry in your catalog. A heavy silence fell over the chamber as the archivists processed this explanation. Their species had no history of conquest. Their expansion had always been driven by the quest for knowledge. But from the human perspective, any sufficiently advanced civilization arriving at Earth might represent an existential threat. What happens now? Asked Vexel, echoing Tenzor's earlier question, but with new understanding. Admiral Chen stood, her posture straight and commanding. Now we redefine our relationship. Humanity formally reveals itself to the galactic community, on our terms. We offer technological and scientific exchange in areas where our development has taken different paths from the collective. And in return, Tenzor asked, though he already suspected the answer, complete autonomy, Ambassador Wei replied. Earth and its colonies remain sovereign. Our developmental trajectory remains our own. We will share knowledge, but not at the expense of our independence. Vexel's tactical mind immediately recognized the strength of humanity's position. Their technology was clearly advanced beyond archivist understanding in several domains. Their distributed presence across multiple sectors gave them strategic leverage that couldn't be countered without galactic-scale conflict. "The collective will need to consult with the Council," Tenzor said, attempting to regain some diplomatic ground. Admiral Chen nodded. "Of course. We expected nothing less. As a gesture of good faith, we're providing access to certain non-critical technologies that may assist with current archivist projects." Dr. Okafor activated another holographic display, showing schematics for energy systems, materials science applications, and biotechnology innovations that left Science Officer Relex visibly struggling to comprehend their implications. "These are revolutionary," Relex managed, scrolling through the data. "The applications for environmental restoration alone would transform a dozen worlds currently under collective rehabilitation. Consider it a down payment on our future relationship," Ambassador Wei said. "We've identified 73 worlds in collective databases that could benefit from these techniques." The negotiations continued for hours, gradually transitioning from tense diplomatic positioning to genuine exchange. As barriers lowered, both sides began to appreciate the unique perspectives each brought to the table. The archivists' millennia of accumulated wisdom complemented humanity's innovative approaches to seemingly intractable problems. Later, as the human delegation prepared to return to their vessel, Vexel found himself alone with Admiral Chen near the airlock. "There's something I still don't understand," he admitted. "Why reveal yourselves now? If your strategy of isolation was working, why change it?" Admiral Chen studied him with those unsettlingly perceptive human eyes. "Because isolation isn't sustainable indefinitely, Commander. Humanity needed to evolve beyond hiding. And because we detected something approaching from the galactic core, something ancient and vast that concerns us." Vexel felt his exoskeleton chill. "What do you mean?" "Our deep space monitoring has detected nothing unusual." "Your monitoring relies on principles your science understands," she replied quietly. 3 years ago, our quantum observers began detecting perturbations in the underlying structure of reality. Something is moving through the galaxy, Commander. Something that doesn't travel through space as we understand it. Why haven't you told the High Archivist this?" Vexel demanded, suddenly alarmed. "That conversation comes tomorrow," Admiral Chen said. "Tonight, your leadership needs to process the reality that humanity isn't what you thought. Tomorrow, we all need to discuss the possibility that the galaxy itself isn't what we thought." As the human delegation departed, Vexel returned to the viewing portal, staring at the blue-green planet that had so completely upended everything he believed about his mission and the Archivist's place in the galactic order. Earth had hidden in plain sight for centuries, developing along paths the Archivists had never imagined. What else might they have misunderstood in their 50,000 years of exploration? What other assumptions might prove catastrophically wrong? On the planet below, more hidden installations continued to reveal themselves, not as a threat display, Vexel now understood, but as a gesture of emerging trust. Humanity was finally showing its true face to the stars. And if Admiral Chen was right about what approached from the galactic core, this revelation had come not a moment too soon.